last night, and now I got 2 shots, have a crack at a good captain score for the rest of the weekend.
Oh, beautiful. Well, don't get me. Yeah, that I went out last night. I did my own little mini varsity with my best mate last night. Just went and got some burgers and watched the footy. And oh my God, I tell you what, that was one of the most boring games I reckon I've ever watched. It was
domination.
There was about probably 15 to 20 minutes worth of the game that were just set shots, because there's about 30 marks inside 50. There was so many set shots. It was just stop, start, and just every player that we did own didn't score except for one player I don't own that just continued to get it done. But yeah, so no, good work with dodging the VC last night. I was tempted to not go it last night. I just thought the crowd's going to go with Dunkley or Taranto, so I thought, well, why don't I just go maybe a Dawson VC into like a Crouch thing? But no, the FOMO hit me and I had to go VC on Taranto. But hey, it happened. So, but yeah, mate, so as you said, it's been a busy week, but what have you looked at doing your trades? Obviously, we spoke about it on Sunday night and then on the phone as well, but they changed. What are you looking at?
Yeah, they have a bit,
got a big on.
Yeah, so the real... Yeah, so Yo's going down to Himmelberg, firstly. I mean, for me, that's just kind of a no-brainer because I've still technically got 2 rookies on field. So, I mean, essentially, going through the buys, I traded out Sheasel 1 round early, and then the following week, Lockie Winfield went out. So, I lost 2 of my defenders. So I was running through some of those buys with just, kind of only 5 premium defenders, you could say, right? So, I've got to kind of fill that spot. So I'm quite happy to loop like a Sheldrick and a Windhager. That's what I'm going to do at my M8 this week.
Yep. I'm similar.
Yeah, trading out Johnson and then I've decided on Gavin Wanganeen Malira. I think.
Gavin?
Did I say Gavin? Player. Sorry, yeah. Bloody hell, Gavin.
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember you saying in the group chat, is a GWM.
Did I say that?
Who's GWM?
Oh my God,
yeah.
I've been saying that all week.
It's NWM.
Yeah, there you go, right? There you go. So I've been getting that wrong all week. But yeah, I think, Sates have got a great run. Obviously, he's up against the Eagles this week as well, which is, potentially a little bit of sugar there. But yeah, I need that kind of mid-700 defender. So, yeah, Himmelberg will replace Yo, and then Johnson will go up to, Wanganeen Malira.
Yep, I like it.
What about you, mate?
I like it, mate. Yeah, well, these are the weeks that I absolutely cherish because I don't have to message anyone. I don't have to stress about trades.
By the way, I actually did want to say that just for a community announcement, right? If Bales doesn't regularly message you, several times a week asking you what he should do about his trades, then just reach out to him via DM because he'll be more than happy to add you to the list. And I think there's about 70% of the AFL community is on that list, so don't miss out.
Yeah, well, my trades have been set from Sunday night when lockout lifted, when I was on the phone to you, because I didn't actually realise we'd get him. But he's just going, I went Wilmot down last night. I still don't actually know who the downgrade option is, so I'd be interested to get your thoughts and whoever jumps on with us for a bit of a chat, their thoughts. But I'll be going down to a Mullen, O'Donnell or Fay, one of those 3. And then I'll be going Humphrey all the way up to Sam Doherty, which I'm very, very happy with. And then the plan is next week, if no forced trades, is going a Johnson up to Callum Mills or something like that, and then no rookies on field. So, yeah, looking forward to getting all the rookies off field. So, but yeah, mate, you were talking about just as we get a couple of last sort of people to tuning in, then we'll get into all these questions. And if anyone wants to jump on, I see that you've got Warney there, Luke's listening as well, Rids. If any of you boys want to jump on for a chat, then feel free. I think I sent a request to each of you, so if you want to jump on. But yeah, Tim, you said that you didn't go VC last night. Who have you looked at going as your vice captain and your captain?
Yes, I'm still kind of a little undecided about Dawson and Laird. Like, I think the majority of the competition will probably put the C on Dawson, especially after his big week last week. But, I was kind of listening to Ball Boys before. I think Luke's hanging around there, and Mitch was sort of talking about how he kind of feels Laird's going to go. I trust Mitch there as a captain picker, as one of the trusted captain pickers in the community. So I think there's good merit to go there, but at the same time, Bales, you also know the Crows pretty well, and you're pretty convinced that Shields is going to put some time into Laird. So
yeah. I'm not convinced. I'm just like, we saw it with Essendon that Merritt got off the chain and they put Shields onto him. I could just see something where Laird has 12 to 15 disposals in the first quarter, goes ballistic, and then they go, yeah, we're going to shut that down and put Shields on Laird, because it's happened in the past. I've seen that Laird's gone really well against North in the first quarter or the first half, and they've put a Cunnington or a Shields or whoever's been playing on him. So that's the only flag that I've got with Laird. But part of me is like, well, I don't.
So who do you think
going to tag this time?
Gun to your head. Well, who would you pick?
I've got Dawson. I've got Dawson, mate, but I feel bad because that's I should be saying my boy. I should be going. Going to bat my boy. So
I like it when you use your head. Sometimes you're a bit too hard. I think even Jack Steele, you've been a bit too optimistic about his chances the last couple of weeks, only because
Jackson's going to be top four midfielder.
Yeah, exactly.
Jackson's going to be top four midfielder.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to see anyway. But we have got Luke on, and mate, this week is a bit of a strange one for us too, mate, because we're going head to head.
We are, mate. Yeah, it's going to be good fun. It's going to be good fun, Bales. I think I'm off to a decent start with Neil last night, but neither of us hit a VC, so we'll see how it pans out, eh?
Oh, mate, I've said to Tim, the Content Creators Cup for me this year, there's, as Dossie always talks about, there's an algorithm for him not getting inside the top 20 cap. That's been broken. There's an algorithm where it's just like, we won't allow Bales to have any enjoyment of the Content Creators Cup, because every time I get matched up against anyone, the players that I don't have that they've got either have their best score for the year, or all their players go well. And Lockie Neal had his best score for the year, but no, he was very, very good last night. So he went about his business. I think he had a pretty big last quarter, didn't he? Like 40 odd.
Yeah, well,
points.
actually, being a Tigers fan, I actually flicked it off with 10 minutes to go. I just couldn't put up with it. And I think Neil was on 90.
Surprised you last that long, mate.
There was talk about packing it in. It was only fantasy that was keeping us around, but. Neil was on 97. I think we had 10 minutes to go and just on 30 points. So I was pretty happy to see that when I woke up this morning.
Beautiful, mate. Well, what are you looking at doing with your trades this week? I'd be very interested to know, as I'm up against you this week.
Mate, I'll be full transparency. But I think I dodged the Yo bullet, fortunately, because Mitch and I were sitting there on Monday's show and talking about how Yo was a good trade in Target, and we both stand by that. But the injury has obviously changed that. So I'm looking at getting off a bloke that's been a thorn in my side all year, and that's Hayden Young, generating some cash by going down to the Berg and then taking Bailey Humphrey up to Darcy Cameron in the forward line. So it's sort of feels sort of weird getting off a guy like Hayden Young, because you feel like he is going to be there or thereabouts. But the fact of the matter is he's just dropping cash at the moment. And my other option was sort of to take like a Johnson or a Sheldrick down to a basement price guy. But the way I see it is Hayden Young's dropping cash. Johnson and Sheldrick are going up in cash. So I may as well take Hayden Young down to a Himmelberg. I think those guys can do similar stuff for the rest of the year. And then I can get the upgrade with Darcy Cameron. So that's sort of where my head's at the minute.
Yep, love it, mate. Is that your final rookie as well off field?
That would be at the minute. No, sorry, I'll be looping Sheldrick tonight.
Okay,
so looping Sheldrick, and then it'll either be Sheldrick taking that score or Johnson. So I was kind of two rookies on field up to that point. But yeah.
Yeah, we're in the exact same position. I'll be looping Sheldrick and probably playing a Winhager or Johnson. Yep. I'm still undecided who I go with that one. But
let's talk about that for a second, right? So Johnson and Winhager, and reason why I've traded out Johnson this week is there was some talk about, firstly, Aish is coming back into the side, and then there was some talk from the coach about a bit of a change in role for Johnson this week as well. So are there any concerns there around Johnson? What do you think there, boys?
Not for me. I think he'll still have a wing / midfield role. I don't see his role changing much outside of that. But then again, as he said, the coach said his role changed, so it'd be interesting to see what it is. But I think Dogs under the roof at Marvel. I know Dogs have been a bit tougher on defenders and wingers of late, but they still have given up a fair few points across the year. So I think Johnson can still put up a pretty solid score, but obviously the last 3 weeks have shown he's gone 2 90s and then a 37. So it's sort of just been a bit up and down. So who knows if he goes a sub 70 this week or if he goes like an 80 or a 90 again. So for me, I'm trusting Windhager on field with the matchup and probably the more solidified role. If that's obviously the question, so we're looking at who's playing on field. But it is a tough one. I'd love to loop both.
Yeah, I think I think a lot of coaches are going to be looping Sheldrick, right? So hopefully he goes big and we don't even have to worry about it. But I think there might be a number of coaches, and it was something that I was looking at this week, is, okay, well, who do I stick with? Do I stick with Johnson or Windhager?
For me, I think it's the guy... Sorry, Tim, you go.
No, it's all right, mate. Because I essentially had to trade one of them out. So
I'd keep Windhager because I think the better role and the better matchup this week. And he's probably got more cash to make if he pops a 70 or an 80 this week than if Johnson pops out another 60. He's probably only going to make 10, 15K. Breaking will be up in the 40s again. And then it's like, well, if he drops another 60, then he's probably not going to make too much more cash. He's got to rely on more 70s and 80s to make cash. So
why don't we throw to Bindi? I know he's on now as well, mate. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. How's it going?
Yeah, 4 in a row, mate. Four spaces in a row with us, mate. Becoming a very regular guest at the moment.
Yeah, I got to my girlfriend's place. I was ready to hang out with her, and then I saw the Spaces was on, and I was like, "Oh, sorry." You go listen to the Spaces. I did quite bad, but no, she's great. So all good.
Oh, mate,
what are your thoughts on this kind of Windhager Johnson kind of thing we're talking about?
I'd probably be fielding Windhager, but oh man, like
rookie roulette.
Flip a coin. Yeah, exactly. Like we all had arguments, last week. I think not fielding Johnson was a pretty valid play, and look what he did. So actually, I think Tim, you didn't field Johnson. Got to put the E on him, unfortunately. But
Jesus, I'm sure hell, that's 2 of you. Drive-bys from both of you today.
I think you'll pop better than a 0.
That's fucking last time you're on the board. That's your now.
Nah, I've done the same thing. It's all good. Now look, Windhager probably for me.
Yeah,
named as a follower as well. I know teams getting named doesn't mean much, but
nah,
I like it.
But it helps. It helps,
it does.
Especially coming up against the Witches' hats.
Yep, no Elliot Yo in there either. Should be good.
Oh man, that's
so, mate. Well, feel free not to tell us because obviously you're in 6. But what are you looking to do on this week, or what are your considerations anyway?
I reckon I'll probably do most of the research after the Swans game because I think it'll change based on Sheldrick.
Yeah, okay.
But look, for me, it'll be between getting a Doherty in or getting an English in. The thing is, obviously, I think English is more important, but I don't like his matchup this week relative to what Doherty has. And I also just want to get the hell off Hayden Young. I'm over him. 2 weeks and I'm over him.
Yeah, try owning him for the season.
I've been listening to your podcast, and you've just been complaining about him all year. They still jumped on
it. We even recommended don't go there for your mental health, but he did look like
you explicitly mentioned that. Yeah,
he did look like he was going to present some value a few weeks ago. So I feel for you on that one.
It happens.
Well, we know what's happening. Young's going to drop a 120 this week. This is going to happen. We know. That's how. Unfortunately, that's how fantasy
Not if Luke Ryan has anything to do with it, Bals.
Well, depends if Luke Ryan's role could change. That's the thing. Has anyone heard anything about Alex Pearce's fitness?
I haven't.
No, I haven't either. I think he'd probably be playing, but that'd be something to see. Because I know he did get subbed out. I think they said that it was a little bit more precautionary than anything, but hey, we'll have to see if he gets named. So, but we'll get into some questions now as well. So if anyone's watching on YouTube or listening on Twitter, send through your questions and we'll get to as many as possible. I'll be doing the watch along tonight straight after as well. So if you got more questions, I'll be live on YouTube at 7:30 Eastern, about 20 minutes before the game. And Tim is heading to the varsity tonight, as always. So if anyone's heading down there, feel free. But more importantly, if anyone is in Perth next week, get down to varsity, because AFL Fantasy Fanatics is taking over the varsity, because Bales is in Perth for 11 days. I'm looking forward to that and catching up with everyone. So should be good fun. Tim, anything to add there with the varsity bar, mate?
No, just going to be there tonight. Going to be there next week as well.
Yeah,
so what have we also got? Got the F1 later on tonight as well.
Ashes is on too.
Go, mate.
What's that? Oh, yeah, the Ashes. Come on.
Yeah, plenty going on.
Good amount of sport tonight.
Yep, love it. So let's get into the questions. The first one comes from Emily on YouTube. She says, hey, guys, went yo to Sinclair last night. And to do so, need to go Wilmot down to a 277k defender or below. Originally had Josh Fahey, but would you go O'Donnell now or someone else within that range? Thanks. So I've also put a Mullen in this conversation as well. So you've got your Mullen, Fahey and O'Donnell. What are we doing? Are we going for Mullen, who's probably the most likely to get a game of the three? Or I know O'Donnell's playing, but O'Donnell's playing, not scoring much. He could be out in a week or two with Richards and Johannesson potentially coming back soon. And then you've got a Fahey who is in and around the mark. Who would you boys be going out of those three?
None of them. I honestly, like O'Donnell, I just don't. I mean, if you look at his scores, what are they, 20 odds usually? There's just no cash gen there. I mean, I like him, but I just don't know how he gets back in that side. I guess you'd probably be relying on injury for that to happen. Mullen is the one I probably would like the most. But geez.
Yeah, it's because Emily went Wilmot down and I also went Wilmot down, and because we need a defender, we have to sort of pick one. We can't sort of get around it. So
I think it's Mullen.
Yeah.
I've got Chesser, but obviously, Emily, if you don't have Chesser, then that's obviously probably the one that you
did. They say mid defender as well.
Did she 277 though?
Yeah, 277. Yeah, it's got to be it's got to be someone that's in the defence.
Okay.
I guess we have Jeff here. He probably knows that any of the defender rookies that are red dots at the moment likely to get a debut anytime soon.
Yeah,
I think best chance is Faye.
Yeah, Sam Banks was one from last night, but for Richmond, so he could get a game soon. But
Warner from Freo, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. So yeah, unfortunately, Emily, I've gone Mullen. So if that,
I think Mullen's the most likely to get a game, although I wouldn't expect much out for it.
Yeah, and I'd probably go Fahey over O'Donnell just because O'Donnell's only going to score 20s.
So the Warn Dog just sent me a message, Lohman. So McCarthy's been suspended, so it's likely that he comes back in the side.
Oh wow. That's good. Great news.
Yep. Love it, mate. Good. I brought him in last week, and I know, Bindy, you did as well. So looking forward to hopefully seeing him back in the side. Cheers to the
Warn Dog.
Yep. Thanks, Warnie, for that one.
And I was being a bit fictitious when I said I like none of them. I think it's definitely Mullen. Given your situation where you have to go defender, Mullen's the one.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And Emily, if you don't have Mullen, that'd be the one. But if you've already got Mullen, it's probably Fahey. I know O'Donnell's playing, but as Bindy said, he's giving you 20s, and Richards and Johannesson are back, I think, within the next few weeks or so. So O'Donnell could easily be out next week, and you've got a red dot, whereas at least Fahey could come in at some point. So next one comes from Jordan. Says Yo and Young out to the Berg and Bontempelli, and he's got 3 rookies left on field. Or would we go Yo and Humphrey to Berg and Doherty with 2 rookies on field, and he's obviously able to loop them. So I imagine that we're all going to agree that you go the one less rookie. You keep Young as bad as it is because you've got the rookies, and you get Doherty instead.
Yeah, that would be. As I am normally an advocate for getting rid of Hayden Young, I'd be looking down that line.
I feel like yeah, 3 rookies is probably too much to be trading Young ahead of those.
Yeah, I think, and like you said, there's every chance that if that Alex Pearce injury is giving him grief and Ryan has to play more accountable, there's every chance that Young could get off the chain. But yeah, I think as much as my heart tells me get rid of Hayden Young, my head tells me get the rookie off the field.
Hayden Young tends to go well under the roof as well. I believe they're playing at Marble this week, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they're cool. So look, I don't know. I would not be shocked if he popped a 90 plus this week. Wouldn't bank on it. I wouldn't be shocked.
Don't tell me that.
Timo says, happy Friday, legends. Bring on the weekend. Thanks, Timo, mate. Have a good weekend yourself. Hopefully your team goes well there as well. Shannon Page says, g'day, Bales. Your advice on choosing captain, Bont or Crouch? Good luck with the round. So this is where we can probably go round the table here and go who we're going as captain and vice captain. So at the moment, I went VC Taranto. So, of course, I used the VC on Taranto. And, of course, he goes under 100. Just my luck. And everyone else's luck to put the VC on him for probably the first time all year. And at the moment, I've got Dawson as my captain, but I've got him, Laird, and Crouch for my 3. So, Bindi, what are you looking at doing with your captain and vice captain this week?
I haven't fully committed to a captain just yet, but it'd be one of Laird or Bont or Crouch at this stage.
Oh, Dawson.
I don't know, man. I need to make a decision. I'm just no use for this right now. I mean, I've got that many group chats discussing this exact problem. There's almost too many good options.
Yeah, I know. Yep, agreed.
Luke? Sorry, I can't help you there.
Luke, what are you looking at doing? You obviously used your VC on Taranto last night, like myself.
I did, mate. Let me just consult the big boys. Based on what young Mitchell has told me to do, it would be from Crouch and Bont. He's actually got Crouch at 5, Bont at 7. So, look, I to stay on brand, I'm a slave to the big boys. I really am. But after Taranto last night, I'm probably going into Laird. Mitch brought up just the podcast we just recorded. Mitch brought up some interesting statistics about players after they go 150 and what they follow up with. And, it's based on those stats, it suggests that maybe the tendency to go Dawson isn't the correct one. But like we both said, the fact of the matter is, despite Mitch's sweaty statistic gathering through in the week, it really is like flip a coin. It could be Laird, it could be Dawson. I mean, that's what we sit here and do, isn't it? It's glorified guessing, really. So at some points, you just have to pull the trigger. So I think I'll go Laird.
Do you think it would be fair to say that out of those two players, though, the one with the bigger ceiling is Dawson?
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, if you asked the same question last year, like what did Rory Laird? Didn't he go 150 plus a few times in that back end?
The 20 tackle game against Collingwood, he got like a 160 or a 170 or something. So
if North would have, I was just going to say, if North would have given him any attention, who would be the likely player to go to him?
Shields.
Right. He's not a big guy, is he?
No, he's not.
No, so Dawson.
How does that work on Dawson?
Yeah, so that's what I mean. I don't see Dawson getting a tag because Greenwood's not playing either. So I thought if Greenwood was there, maybe they go Greenwood head-to-head with Dawson. They go Shields with Laird, but Greenwood's not there. So I'm sort of leaning. So Dawson's probably the least likely to get attention. But, hey, who knows? They could just send some random guy onto him.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, if I like I said, I just typically go with the big boys every week. But Dawson, like that 170 last week, just how good did he look as well? So it's tough to split, and that's why I think guys like Selby and stuff, they always give their advice, but at the end they say go with your gut, because at least if you go with your gut, you're not going to kind of rue it as much. So we give all this advice, but at the end of the day, people do your own research and go with your gut.
Yeah, mate. People keep saying Brownlow Bond, and I get that, but Brownlow Dawson, that's where it's going to be at. So
I'm with you there, Bals.
He's in the top 5, I think. So, but yeah, Tim, you can sit back and relax. You got 2 cracks at it compared to everyone else. What are you looking at doing with your captain and vice captain?
So I do like the idea of having a crack at Dawson. Once again, I think if you've used your VC, I can certainly understand the idea of going Laird because you just feel a bit safer. But for me, this is my VC, so I feel like I can kind of have a bit of a throw at the dartboard, right? So
I agree with you there, Guesty. I think if I had the VC, I think of the two of them, I'd pick Dawson as well.
Yeah, and then just rolling into Crouch against the Eagles. I mean,
love it.
I do think the Eagles are going to put up more of a fight this week, but when you really kind of think about it, it's a question of talent, really. And I just don't think, even if we put up a fight, we might be able to. I mean, we've had games where we've done it for maybe 15 minutes and a quarter here or there, but I can't see them being able to do it for any extended period of time. And I think Crouch, as well as some of the other Saints, could really rack up. But of course, Marshall's a concern in terms of being subbed. So I think, Crouch is the safer option.
Well, if especially if the Eagles put up more of a fight, I think it's probably a good thing for Crouch because it might be a more contested game for the first half or three quarters, and Crouch can get his tackles and get his contested possessions, and then maybe towards the end get a few of those +6s. So I've considered bypassing Dawson Land, just watching both and rack up and enjoying both, and then going Crouch captain in the final game. But I'm not sure. I'm still undecided with that. So. But yeah, when are you boys going to say something? I think I heard someone about to speak.
I was just going to say, I think the one thing I like about Crouch is I just don't see him being a chance to get rested or subbed at all. I think it's clearly more likely to be Steele or Romo. So I like that.
How do you feel, Bales, waiting until... Oh, no, it's not a Sunday afternoon. It's Saturday afternoon, isn't it? So you don't have to wait until a Sunday for it.
What's that for?
When are the Eagles playing? Is it Sunday?
No, the final
it is
game.
Sunday. It is Sunday.
Yeah,
It's the
Sunday,
last
yeah.
match.
So it's the final game. Yeah. So hey, you going to feel a bit nervous about that, mate?
Oh yeah,
skipping a lady and going to a Crouch.
Yeah, I know. Then seeing all these 150s and then Crouch gets an 80 in the final game. That's probably would have been my luck. So
the good thing about captain in the final game is watching your rank go through the roof, regardless of where you are.
That is a good point, actually. Yeah. It's tough. I'm torn. I don't want to think about it. I just wanted to bloody Taranto. Why couldn't he just did the 1 week where I didn't have to decide between my two boys? And of course, and Luke, mate, I remember missing our group chat about when they Dawson led went to that Hungry Jack's near my work. I'm still torn up about that, mate. And it's like 3 weeks after.
Well, mate, that's as good a reason as any to bypass them both. And I think Max Heath is on for a big game, so I would put a C on him. Bales in our content creators match up there, mate. So.
Oh, mate. So we got Global says, hope you're all safe and well. Thanks, Global there. Appreciate all of the insights from you guys. Dunkley out with a calf for the next few weeks. I don't know if that's been confirmed, but I guess we'll have to see on that one.
I think that's still speculation.
Yeah, I would wait until you hear that from a reputable source.
Yeah, I was going to say that there's a chance he gets rested because they've got West Coast, but I don't. It's still a week away, so we'll have to see. But yeah, it's something to keep an eye on. But Double Dummy says, thoughts on Nick Martin for Elliot Yeo? What are our thoughts on Nick Martin, Tim?
Poor Nick Martin's been bloody beaten up in the media this week, hasn't he?
Oh, has really?
Yeah, on Fox Footy they were saying about how he just doesn't do any defensive work and whatever. So,
I mean, from our perspective as fantasy coaches, we don't care. But I still probably am not looking there.
At
$840,000.
It's pretty exy now. Hey, it's one of those ones that's like if you got on him 4 weeks ago, then you're cheering, but otherwise it feels a bit like you're chasing it now.
He's wingman, we just.
I couldn't. I don't think I could trust it for the rest of the year to be a top 6 because you're paying him to be a top 6 forward now. So he's too expensive for me. I'd rather a Cogs that's probably not that much more expensive that is a bit more unique. I'd rather bring a guy like him in.
Yep, he's a winger. That's basically the one word response, right? Price over 100 for a winger. No.
Yeah,
I love him, but no.
Yeah, there's obviously you can go Yo up, but there's other options I'm sure in that price you can have a look up there, mate. Moon Boy, are there any rookies apart from Hewitt? No, mate. No, I can answer that for you. Not really. There's Hewitt, and then it's pretty much he's the one you get. So if you don't have Hewitt, you go get him. If you don't, Jeff, I just got a message from Jeff, and he said Jacob Ryan, defender who could get a game soon, and Carl Warner from 302. So they're two guys who can get a game, but again, sort of just like, well, are they we've got to see if they get a game or not. So if you're looking for a defender rookie that might get a game, there are probably two names there, but it's tough for rookies at the moment. So Jay Singh says, is it worth offloading Windhager this week in order to get Humphrey to Crouch instead of Keys or Cameron, Luke? What are your thoughts?
Say again, sorry, Bales.
So Jason said, is it worth offloading a Windhager this week, which allows him to go Humphrey up to Brad Crouch, or would you get rid of another rookie and settle for a Keys or a Cameron?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think there's the Windhager matchup is good this week. So if you move off him and he gives you 100, you're going to be a little bit filthy knowing that was right there. But locking in a guy like Crouch, who's every chance of being top 8 mid, is pretty juicy as well. I think I think Windhager's still got some cash to potentially make. So I think I might compromise and go with like a Cameron or a Keys in your forward line. But then, everything we say is team dependent as well, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
So you've got to consider where your deficiencies are as well. So, a bit of a flip of the coin, but I think I'd be tempted to go Cameron and keep Windhager for this matchup and a bit more cash gen. Yeah,
I was going to say exactly that. I think if your team's got a lot of cash gen, you got a few guys on the bench that got money, you could probably afford to offload a Windhager to Crouch. But if you're like pretty much 95% of the comp and cash gen's a bit of an issue, probably, as you said, Luke, maybe compromising for the week to get a Keys or a Cameron. And keeping Windhager to make a bit more cash is probably the way to go. But who would you pick out of Keys or Cameron? Have you got a preference?
That's the exact decision I've had to make this week. I've gone Cameron at this stage. So
I agree. I think it's Cameron.
Yeah, it's just Keys has that immediate potential sugar hit with a like reasonably juicy matchup this week, but then you also ask yourself, like, if we're expecting Dawson and Laird to get off the chain big time, are we also expecting Keys to go there too? And then I just think for that absolute role certainty
and the flexibility for
ruck cover, I think it's Cameron for me. But again, flip a coin.
Hey boys, I know you said this one's team dependent. I actually disagree with that. I reckon option 2 is the clear way to go with this. Like, I think even the best teams now, we have 9 rounds of footy left. Like, that cash is going to be important, and keeping Windhager for 1+ more weeks is going to net you a lot of money with that break even. Personally, I think Keys is very similar chance of being a top 6 forward to what Crouch is of being a top 8 mid anyway. I'd probably go to Keys or Cameron, whichever one you like.
So all in agreement on that being the preferred option?
Yeah, I agree as well.
Sweet.
And we got the rookie man, Jeps, that jumped on. Jep, mate, how you going? How's the week been?
Yeah, not bad, guys. All good. It's a bit of an interesting week for fantasy with shit showing last night.
Yeah, Greg, did you have the VC on one of those boys last night as well?
I did. I had it on Taranto, but I like Selby's comment. Back to old school fantasy, where I have a bit of experience. So yeah, we'll see what happens this week.
Have you got a guy in mind or a couple of guys in mind for your captain that you're looking at?
Yeah, Bontempelli's one. It just depends if I bring in Laird. Looking at Sheldrick tonight, see what he does, and then trades will sort of come off that.
Yep, sweet. So and then that leads me to your trades as well. So, what do you if Sheldrick was to go well, what are you looking at doing? Is that probably going to change?
If Sheldrick goes 75 plus, I probably will go Yo to Scrimshaw and Matty Johnson to David Cunningham from Carlton, which is basically a rookie prize player. I should tweet that out now, shouldn't I? To consider. Pretty, injury prone, all of that, blah, blah, blah. But VFL form can rack it up. He actually got 2 CBAs on the weekend, last weekend. Read into that what you will. But I think they rate him, and he offers Carlton pace and run on the outside. So, yeah, I'm going to go down that path, I think. And then I still don't have Hewitt, but he'd be the other choice.
Yeah, and then if Sheldrick then was to go like sub 70 or whatever, what have you got in mind for those moves?
Yeah, so that's where it gets interesting. Like, we're looking at a Mills, which I'm not really keen on, to be fair. I might actually even trade Butters out as well. So I'm looking at generating cash. Butters back to mental blank. Who's Sheasel for some cash, which is like 160 grand, I think, from memory. Can't remember. So yeah, looking at playing with my team, playing a bit of the break-even game because cash gen's such a problem.
Yeah, agreed. And then obviously you said about the rookies as well, and we were talking before, we were saying it's pretty much, Hewitt, and then there's not really much else. I think you had a Judson Clark last night for anyone that wanted to go down there. You have like a lot like a Lockie McNeil for Bulldogs that's been named, but he's been subbed that many times, and who knows if he stays in. O'Donnell, like there's not really anyone that fills you much confidence probably besides you, Hewitt, and then you obviously mentioned Cunningham as well. We had that question from Emily before that was asking about like what defender rookie would you go? Would you go and get the green dot in O'Donnell, or do you think getting a Mullen or a Fay as like a guy that could come back in is probably the better route to go down?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't go Mullen. Fay, yeah, I heard someone say earlier, he needs injury to get back in the team, so I wouldn't go there. I'd actually you could go Fay because he's still $200,000. I'd probably throw it away and just go basement price in Fay, in Carl Warner from Freo as well, who's been emergency about 7 times this year. So, yeah, one of those two. Because if you're forced to get a defender, then they're your options basically.
Yeah, it's tough going down defence.
There's no point in getting O'Donnell. He's not like, I don't see the point.
Yeah, I agree as well.
Hey, Jeff, I've actually got a rookie question for you, mate.
Yeah, mate.
So a lot of people are looking at Hewitt this week, but like the question, I've seen asked a few times, like, hey, do we go Hewitt or do we just go down to a bargain basement, right? And in general, I think Hewitt is the option here, but I was wondering, how many games could you see him playing? Do you see, would you say he's more likely than not to play the next 4 matches for West Coast?
Hewitt, yeah, absolutely, mate. No, he was actually cherry ripe to go. About a month ago, I went to they call it a big footy breakfast over here with the West Coast, and he was interviewed. And at the time, he got a big block of running and training in, and he was feeling fit. And then to go, he decided to run through his chest. So it stifled him, but he's pumping to go. Obviously, most of you know, I went to training on Tuesday, and he looked pretty good. He was training with the midfield group. I think we got 26 to pick from this week as well. So, yeah, I don't mind the Hewitt pick at all. I just think his scoring ceiling is 60 this week and next week and for the short term. But with Cunningham, I can see Cunningham pulling out an 80 against Hawthorn. That might be a optimistic view, but I think that's why I'm potentially going Cunningham this week, depending on the scores and how it plays out. I just think high scoring ceiling, $314,000. I mean, his last Waffle game, he had 26 touches, 5 marks, 7 tackles, 2 goals, and 124 fantasy points against Essendon in the VFL. So he can do it. And
I actually did a bit of price projection with him, and I just sort of saw that, if he goes 50 in 3 matches, he's going to gain a good 70K or so. So
Hewitt
seems worth it to me. Hewitt.
Yeah, mate. Look, Hewitt's got the job security, got the role. It's just he needs the senior players around him to play better.
Yep.
So yeah, I'll probably do it next week, buddy. To be totally honest.
I don't think 50 is too big of an ask either.
No,
I think you can do that.
Not at all. No. I reckon he's good for a 60.
Yeah, I'm like Jeff as well. I'll probably be going the Hewitt option next week. So, Hewitt, great option.
Hey, Jeff, sorry, I got a question for Jeff. So, Jeff, you're talking about bringing in Sheasel possibly, mate. I just wanted to get your thoughts on a Sheasel compared to an Impey compared to a Wanganeen Lera.
Gavin.
Yes, Gavin.
So I brought in Impey last week and was pretty happy with it. I'm all for the bargains at the moment. So Scrimshaw's the only one that's a 2-week play until Sicily comes back. So, yeah, I mean, I'd put Impey number 1, weirdly. I think Sheasel can be great, and Clarko's returning to training next week in a reduced role, but bloody Rats moved him around when he was ripping form at half-back, and the kid's got to try and win this Rising Star. So I think they've acknowledged they fucked up or the experiment's over. So I can see him just going back to half-back now and staying there. So, yeah, that's why I'm keen on it. I'm just playing a bit of, when I was playing around with trades, I think Butters to Sheasel nets you, what is it, 42?
Oh, it's in the forward line.
Yeah, so just food for thought, and that's only because Butters break-even's 132. That's for no reason. It could be a total stupid move because Butters could go 120 plus against the Bombers. But
are you concerned about Impey when Sick Dog comes back?
Yeah, a little bit. But have you Hawthorn just holding the ball in the back line at the moment?
And they got a good run.
Gold Coast game was I was just clapping it. Will Day and Impey in the back line in the Gold Coast game. So yeah, I don't know what Sam Mitchell's on and what the short-term gameplay is, but you look at all of them, Hardwick as well, Scrimshaw, they all turned up because they were just chip mark in the back line.
Yeah, they got a good run as well, I think, from about round 18. So, Tim, have you looked at Will Day as an option? I know you haven't owned him all year.
Sorry to interrupt. I've got to run, but thank you so much for having me. And good luck, everyone, this week ahead.
Beautiful. Thanks, Binny, mate. Good luck as always.
Thanks,
up the top there. Thanks for catching
mate.
on.
Yeah,
lads.
Yeah, look, great question. I mean, these are the players that I've been thinking about all week. Sheasel, Impey, Will Day, who am I forgetting? Wanganeen Malira. And I'm, trying to make the best decision I can. And I've come up with Wanganeen Malira just because I like St Kilda's run and this match up against the Eagles. But yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Any other thoughts, Jep?
Look, I'm actually, my thought is, and I don't know how your cash gem is sitting, but if it's like mine, I'd actually go the cheapest of the lot.
You mean like Scrimshaw or even possibly Scrimshaw? Or?
Well, if you want to do the 2-week play on Scrimshaw, but then that, you're a lot higher than me. You're still in redemption. So it's probably not you. It's probably for
too
idiots
much.
like me outside of that race. But yeah, and even Impey in that sort of vein, Wanganeen Malira will have a shit ton of it on Optus Stadium. Is it raining this Sunday? I don't even know.
Let me have a quick look.
So have a look at that. But yeah, they obviously
looks pretty sunny.
Yeah, I think Wanganeen Malira's my pick personally out of all of them with that good matchup. So Luke, mate, any thoughts from you, mate? Are all those options there?
Yeah, mate, I'm Wanganeen Malira on those ones, and I think like Jet probably alluded to, is like Guesty's ranking is quite respectable, and he's still in hat contention, so it might be good to just play the straight bat on that one. But I've actually had someone slide into my DMs with a question here. They've said, "Is Sam Flanders a lock to be top 8 mids?" And I think we might have found Dossie's burner account here. So I can see the great man Doss listening along. So maybe he could jump on and just confirm whether that was in fact him that's messaged me there. But I don't know. Sam Flanders, what do we think, boys? Top 8 mid?
Jesus.
No.
Aren't we enough? We're definitely no, but we're burnt enough with these bloody
somebody said
Gold
Dossie
Coast players, right? Is Ratkins a sub again, we reckon? Is that what we reckon?
Probably, yeah. He's
and where the hell is Fiorini going to play this week?
Leave me out of Gold Coast.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm agreeing to leave me away from Gold Coast. I reckon that's probably where I'm sitting. We'll get some questions as well. We'll do a bit of rapid fire. I know Tim's got to head off in about 10 minutes or so. So we'll go one question for each of you and just quickly go. So Tom's got the first one. Tim, I'll go to you first. Said, which trade in, fellas, still have one of Windhager or Sheldrick on the field? So someone asked Tim.
Firstly, how glad am I the buys are over and you're not going to roll out 18 different player names and ask me to pick which is best.
Yeah, mate, it'd be a lot easier, that's for sure. So you're going Bont and 20K, Doc and 100K, or Keys and 300K? For me, I think it's probably one of those top two. Who are you going out of the three?
I like the idea of Doc the most out of those, just because I think he's probably
a bit of a pod.
Yeah, a bit of a pod. I wouldn't be bringing in out of those three. I definitely wouldn't be bringing in Keys, just because if you've got the money to go to those big dogs, I think you'd be going to those big dogs.
And yeah, he's only got one rookie on field. So if he had like 2 or 3, then maybe you go Keys. But again, because he's only got one, yeah, it's probably.
I don't see much between Doc and Bont.
And don't get me wrong, we've owned Bont all year, and he's been an amazing pick for us. But 994K, if you can get a Docket in, save yourself it's near 100K as well.
90K, is it? 90,
and
86K or something.
And Bont's been amazing, don't get me wrong. But if you take away the 150 from last week and the 140 from earlier on, he's only gone over 120, I think, on one occasion. So he hasn't had that.
If we take out two of
I know.
really good scores, he's only gone big once.
I know. If you take at these 7 games, he's only gone on 100 once. Yeah, I know. But it's sort of what I'm saying is, his ceiling hasn't been like that. Like, I don't know. I hope you know what I'm trying to get at. But yeah, I think Doc probably is the play with the saving a little bit of cash there. But are you boys in any different there? Are you going Doc or Bont?
I'd go Doc because he's more lowly owned.
Yeah, I'd agree. Luke, you agreeing as well?
Yeah, I think I agree on that one, and I think you stand to like what you potentially gain from going Doc over, like, let's say the 7th best defender on that line. I think is greater than what you stand to gain compared to, like, let's say a 9-10 midfielder on the other line by trading in Bont, if that makes any sort of sense.
Yeah.
There's a lot of value that's coming up in the midfield as well. I think that's a really good point, Luke. Like, you could probably get a Brad Crouch scoring roughly the same as a Bont, right? And save the money there in the midfield. You've also got value in terms of Mills and Jack Steele coming up in the next couple of weeks as well. So, yeah, I think Doc. Anyway, I think we spent too much time on the one question.
Fiona's got the next one, and I got a Jet for this one. So who to play on field? Unfortunately, looping is an option for me this week. So Windhager against the Eagles or Sheldrick against the Cats? Who are you picking out of the two?
Sheldrick against Cats with no Warner.
Yeah. I saw he got
subs have just been announced. So Clark and Bowes, and no late changes for each side.
Yep. Good. That's a change for Geelong, not naming a late change there. But yeah, no, Sheldrick's been owned on the ball as well. So I don't know if he's still been owned on the ball at final teams, but he was there last night. So yeah, I'd probably agree and go Sheldrick. We talked about Himmelberg there for Josman throughout there. H. Dodds has got this one for you, Luke. Who would you go bring in for Yo and Chincotta? Would you go Sinclair and a 200k rookie, or go cheaper option than Sinclair and get in a Hewitt for more reliable cash gen?
Cheaper option. Who's in that range that would be cheaper than a Sinclair? Are we talking like down to Wanganeen Miller, or is that how far we're going?
Yeah, Gavin could be there. Who else have we got here?
There's not really anyone kind of between Jack Sinclair and like a Wanganeen Miller.
So if you don't have a Tom Stewart, I actually don't mind Luke Ryan's an option this week. And then you got Wanganeen Miller there. So
yeah, I find that one really tough because I certainly don't want to advocate for anyone just bringing in like garbage 200k rookie that they don't ever expect to play just to get to Sinclair, because then you could find yourself stunted later on. But the options below that don't really entice me all that much. Yeah, we just floated the fact that depending on what Alex Pearce is doing, Luke Ryan's a guy that could play a little bit more accountable over the next couple of weeks. Yeah, that's really tough. I'm not giving a definitive answer on that one. What are your thoughts on it, Bales?
Yeah, it's tough. I've looked at Luke Ryan as an option this week. He's just looked good. He's looked pretty consistent, even playing in the more lockdown roles. But yeah, obviously, if Alex Pearce is out, I wouldn't go anywhere near it. But yeah, it's a tough one. Maybe you go Wanganeen Miller and get Hewitt in and get that better rookie, because you can always get Sinclair in a couple of weeks anyway. And Wanganeen Miller's going to make cash at least, and he's got good matchups. So
yeah, that's
get on the Gavin train.
Yeah.
I let that slide in the group chat last night too, Guesty, and then Bales has gone and called you out in front of everyone.
Oh mate, they've been taking pot shots today. They've been taking pot shots today.
I read that in the group chat on the way home from the footy last night, and I was in not a bad mood, but I was just flat because I was like going out for the footy, looking forward to it, and then just watching that atrocious game, and then I just kept seeing GWM in the chat, like, who is GWM?
I worked out who it was, and I thought, I think I know who he's talking about, so I just want to say anything.
Lee's got the next one here. Tim, he's going, who would you trade out, Hayden Young or Jake Loy?
Oh, Hayden Young.
And then who would you bring in, Doherty or Dawson? Probably Doc, isn't it? I know Dawson's been awesome, but
that's tough.
Dawson's over $1 million.
Yeah, you can't bring in Dawson at that price. You'd have to bring in Doc.
Yeah, if you already had Doherty and it was Dawson or Wanganeen Miller or whatever, then yeah, you could probably go Dawson. But Doherty's 100k cheaper and he's going to be a top 3 defender, so it's got to be Doherty there, I think. So Zoe's got this one, Jep. I keep coming to these rookie ones just keep popping up for you, Jep. I've got no loop. Which two do I field out of Johnson, Sheldrick, and Winhager? So Sheldrick's probably one. So who's the other one you'd field out of Winhager and Johnson?
Yeah, Sheldrick and Winhager for me. I'm just wary of where Johnson plays with Aish back. Johnson did play a lot on the wing last week, for those that watched it. And then, if Aish tags Bont or how that plays out is interesting. So, I'm just wary with Johnson being Mr. Fill-in, I suppose, and going where he's needed, not necessarily where he plays his best footy.
Yep. Yeah, agreed. Luke, Henry's got this one. Doherty or Crouch? Who are you going?
I think I'm going Doherty. Depends, I guess, a little bit in what sort of how aggressive you want to be, maybe, I guess, as well. Like in your ranking, we've noted a couple of times that Doherty's more lowly owned in those top sides. So if you were looking to really do some moving and shaking, then probably Doherty, I reckon.
Yep. Yeah, I'd go Doc as well, I think. Crouch, good option, but I'd go Doc there. Lewis has got this one. Tim, Young and Humphrey to Doherty and Mills, or would you go Himmelberg and Bont over Doherty and Mills? Which two are you going?
I'm going Doherty and Mills, and I know that's probably going a little early on Mills, but with Warner out, I like that option more.
Oh yeah, I'm in agreement.
And long term as well, not just for this week. That's what I was going to say. The long term, I think Mills going to be in your team longer term compared. I'm still personally a bit nervous with Himmelberg. I know Whitfield's not there this week, but Cummings back. When Whitfield's back there, are they really going to play Nick Haynes, Himmelberg, Isaac Cumming, Lockie Ash, Lockie Whitfield, all back I'm
there?
I'm bringing in the Berg, right? And I feel a little bit secure about it considering Whitfield's out this week. I am worried about them playing at TIO. And then I don't mind the matchup next week, but for me, the Berg is a 2-week play, and then I want to out. Yeah. So
the one thing I will say about the game this week for Giants is that people keep saying it's up at TIO. It's not TIO Stadium in Darwin. It's in Alice Springs, which again is really hot, but it's during the day as well. Yeah,
it's not as slippery up there at TIO at Traeger Park in Alice either. Yeah. I was fortunate to play up there, played at both stadiums a couple of times. Back when I was youthful, and the difference between playing in Darwin and Alice is actually a lot more than you might think in terms of those that humid, slippery kind of footy. So.
Yeah, good, yeah.
Shane's got this one for you, Jep. Young and Bailey Smith to Himmelberg and Bont, or would you go Young and Harrison to Doherty and McNeil?
Sorry, say that again. Young and
Bailey Smith to Himmelberg and Bont, so just two sort of on-field shuffles, or would you go Young to Doherty and Harrison to McNeil?
Yeah, I'd bring in Doherty and go in the basement rookie.
Yeah. Would you get a different rookie to McNeil, or is that so you just tick it off?
Yeah, but you can take your chance on it. He's just he's a best risk, right? So, and he's that gut runner that suits his green best. So you just got to be wary. Your cash gen's going to be stifled.
Yeah. I think, as we said before, if you don't have a Hewitt instead, you obviously definitely go Hewitt. But
for sure.
Yeah. IG has this one for you, Luke. He says, if you had to keep one this week, would it be Sheed against the Saints or Lloyd against the Cats?
I'd probably keep Sheed against the Saints, I think.
Oh, he's on mute, so I think he's probably talking to someone there. But Tim, do you need to head off now as well?
Yeah, I've probably got to head off in a minute.
Yep. Oh, sweet. Well,
hang on. Actually, I think I might have muted him by mistake.
No, that's all right, Casey. I got to nick off as well. I got to go sort some dinner out. So thanks for having me on, guys.
Sweet.
Best of luck to everyone for this weekend.
And best luck to you, mate. You'll get the big no worries.
Exactly. Big matchup this week, mate.
Mitch is just yelling out, "Go the big boys!" So I'll pass that on to everyone. Right, catch you, gents. Bye.
Thanks, Luke. Thanks, mate.
All right.
If you're heading off as well, I don't know if Jeff, if you wanted to just stick around for a little bit longer, if you need to head off as well.
Yeah, 5 more minutes. We can crank out.
Yeah,
some more.
Oh, sweet. Beautiful. Well, Tim, mate, pleasure as always.
Yeah,
mate, we'll chat Sunday and then we'll meet each other next week. Looking forward to it.
Just a quick word of advice, everyone, just check your emergencies before the game starts, all right?
Yeah, it's beautiful. Thanks, Tim, mate. We'll chat to you on Sunday night.
See ya.
Beautiful. Thanks, Tim. Beautiful, Jeff. So we'll crank out a few questions here as well. And I know that, so Warnie is listening. And Warnie, mate, if you did want to jump on for 5-10 minutes and for a chat, but if not, I know you're probably busy. So it's all good. Farney's got this one, Jeff. Can loop 2 of Windhager, Sheldrick, Johnson, and Fife. Who would you be well, I don't know if it's a looping 2 or playing, but who would you maybe rank them in order of who you'd play on the field from maybe 1 to 4?
So Sheldrick. So who are they? Sheldrick, Fife.
Windhager, Fife, and Johnson.
Yeah, I'll go Sheldrick, Fife. Then I'd go Windhager and Johnson last.
Yeah. I think I'd definitely agree with that. Yeah, because what do you think? What do you see Fife doing? Because a few people still got a Fife in their side because they brought him in a bit cheaper.
He's just a beast, isn't he? Like he's kind of like that inside mid extractor at the moment when he plays midfield. So he's not linking up. He's getting a couple of tackles here and there, but it's a lot of handballs. So his scoring ceiling's about 80. So yeah, look, not one I'd chase right now, personally. Again, cash strapped, but yeah, I just feel like Sheldrick's going to play in the midfield, although it probably reduced time. And I think the bigger bodies of Geelong might sway the Swans coaching staff of protecting him a little bit. I hope that doesn't happen, but it could. But nevertheless, his points per minute when he's on field is just ridiculous. So you have to have him at 1.
Yeah. And
then Windhager's got West Coast, right? So
yeah,
that's why. Really.
Yeah, and because Farney can loop the Sheldrick tonight, that obviously helps as well. So you can have a free look at him as well over the other few guys. Mano said, would you go Keys and Luke Ryan or Doherty and Himmelberg?
Keys and Luke Ryan.
Yeah. What do you think about
Himmelberg now? Like I thought about it personally. I just if you're going to go a Himmelberg type, I'd rather you go a Scrimshaw for 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, I am nervous about as I said before, I just don't see Himmelberg, Cumming, Ash, Whitfield, Nick Haynes all being in defence. So it might be a good for 1 week, but Whitfield's back next week and could be swung for. I don't even think Cadman's back in the team either. So they sort of just got Riccardi and Hogan down there. So maybe that third tool could go back down there. So I would agree. What are your thoughts on Luke Ryan's an option? A few people asking about him. Obviously, huge score last week. Got the Dogs this week, which I know have been tougher in the last few weeks. But what are your thoughts on him?
I don't mind. Again, when you're chasing rank, and I usually talk in overall rank sense, he's one that's lowly owned that has a high ceiling. So he ticks both boxes for you to jump rank. But conversely, it can hurt you the other way because you can get a 70. So I don't mind doing it this time of year. No qualms at all.
Yeah, I looked at it. If I couldn't get Doherty, he'd probably be the one I'd probably almost go for. So Tom has got this one. He says 2 rookies on field before trade. So he's got 3 combos here. So I'll just go 1v2 and then I'll put the third one in last. So he goes Yo and Humphrey to Fay and Doherty. And then the second combo is Yo and Humphrey to Himmelberg and Keys. So who are you going out of those 2?
Sorry, say the 2 options again, mate.
Yep, so Yo and Humphrey going out in both. So is it to Fahey and Doc, or is it to Himmelberg and Keys?
Doc and the Fay.
Yeah, and obviously I'd imagine that Fay would be on the bench.
Yeah, that's what the assumption is.
Yeah, and then the third option is Philippo and Humphrey to Hewitt and Crouch, using Wilmot's score and keeping Yo. So looping Wilmot and with Yo, and then going Philippo and Humphrey to Hewitt and Crouch.
No, I'd still prefer Doherty, weirdly. Again, just because everyone seems to be jumping on the Crouch train last week and this week. So I'm more inclined to go a little bit more on the quieter side.
Yeah. Scum was saying about top rookie targets of the week. As we said before, it's pretty much Hewitt or not much else. Jack says Ben Keys VC. It's a bit of a different one there. What are your thoughts on Ben Keys, the vice captain this week?
No, don't do that. Try use it wisely. I actually looked at Tom Green, but then you're rolling into a St Kilda player in the final game. So now that game is there's a bit of overlap because it's 120 and 240. So yeah, but no, definitely not Keys.
Hopefully goes well, but
yeah, there's a whole variety of options, but don't waste it on Keys. Maybe someone like Tim English even at Marvel.
Yeah, and I think he got a 129 against Freo last time, so
Yeah, and Sean Darcy can't keep up with him. We all know that.
Yeah. George Warlord's Judd Crumbs says, I got Rowell and Humphrey. What do I do? Well, I think Rowell's about 800k. Humphrey's, 545? If there's a way that you could, I don't know, could you go Rowell down to Mills and Humphrey to up to someone, maybe?
My first thought's Humphrey to Cunningham. It's risky because it sounds like Cunningham will be on field. And then Rowell up. But yeah, that's really your only options because you don't want to start, and that gives you enough cash in the bank next week to sort of project and better bring in your primo next week as well. So
yeah, maybe could take the 1 week hit with the rookie and then maybe get the rookie up next week. Yeah,
I'm pretty optimistic on Cunningham and his ceiling. So yeah,
what's his price again?
314.
314, yeah. So not a bad price. Would have been better pick than Dev Robertson. Bloody hell.
Hawthorn this week, then Freo, Port, West Coast, Collingwood Saints.
Yeah. Jackson says, hey, fellas, Warner and the Rat to Fahey and Bont or English? So who are you picking out of Bont and English?
Oh, that's hard. I think Tim English. Ultimately, the ruck spot, you just want to lock it away and, lock and leave. So, yeah, Tim English.
Yep, I would be Tim English as well. John Nichols, is Cripper worth the punt? He's cheap.
He is, but I still think he's injured, so no. I just hate. We've all been scarred by an injured player. Like Jack Steele's a good example of.
Yeah.
Even though he's yo-yo scoring and he did ton up, it's going to be a bloody Dunkley all over again this weekend. $5 says Jack Steele gets subbed this week.
Yeah, I'm a bit nervous about that as well. I think that could easily happen. Yeah, if you can get Mills, he's only 4k more. I'd rather Mills, but yeah, it's slim pickings at the moment. That's for sure. Big B says, what score would you take from either Sheldrick, Winhager, or Johnson to loop them in over a Seamus Mitchell who has got Carlton? So, what would you want from one of those three? Would it be a 70?
No, probably an 80, 75, 80. Yeah, I'll say 80 because like I said earlier, Hawks are holding on to the ball on the back line. I don't know whether it's a one-off game plan or it's been the last few weeks, actually. So it can change quickly, but yeah, they have been holding onto the ball in the back half recently.
Yeah.
I'd take it pretty well last week.
Yeah. I'd take a 70-75, but yeah, as you said, maybe because Mitchell's got that role, maybe 80 could be the play as well. Maybe you want to attack it a little bit more. Noah says Humphrey and Drury to Keys and Hewitt, or do you go Humphrey and Winhager to Crouch and Hewitt?
Yeah, Keys and Hewitt for Humphrey and Drury. Drury's not going to play again, I don't think.
Yeah, and at least Winhager is going to be playing. He can make some more cash for you.
Yeah.
We'll do a final couple here as well. Clay Smith says, hey, lads, Harrison to the Berg or Winhager to Keys?
So instead of Berg, I'd say Scrimshaw, and that's for most trade scenarios. And who to Keys?
Winhager.
Yeah, I suppose so. It looks like they're limited of options to trade up, so sure.
Yep. Yeah, I'd probably get the Keys and go Winhager, even though he's playing at the moment. And we'll do this one, the final one here as well. So Brisbane Bloods Fantasy says, my trades are Humphrey to Darcy Cameron and Rowder Keys. Leaves me with Johnson and a Winhager or Sheldrick loop. But I think we were saying before, if you can, we'd probably rather just play Winhager? And would you just rather play Winhager and Sheldrick over Johnson, or would you at least still maybe just loop Sheldrick and if he goes?
I think it sounds like he's going to play one of the three. So I would emergency Sheldrick. So yeah, the order is Sheldrick, Winhager, Johnson, in that order.
Yep.
But I think the interpretation of the question was it's one of the three, so it's still Sheldrick.
Yep. And he said, would I be better going Rao to Keys or a Young to Himmelberg? But then he said about he's looking at Scrimshaw as well. So would you rather go a Rao to a Keys, or would you go Young to a Scrimshaw?
That's hard. I'd go Keys. Looks like he's got the role. And he had 10 clearances last week, which is the most for Adelaide. I know that's not fantasy relevant, but football coaches look at that, and that helps Keys stay in the midfield.
Yeah, I'd go get Keys as well, I think. So, perfect. All right, well, beautiful. We'll cut it there as well. But appreciate you, Jet, jumping on as always, mate. Where can the people find you in the Plus Six Pod?
Yep, so Plus Six Podcast and at JeopardsDT on Twitter.
Yep. Beautiful. And you can find me at BuzzDT on Twitter, AFL Fantasy fans on Twitter as well. Make sure you go and listen to the latest podcast with DT Lemon and DT Bindi. It's still got some relevant information. If you guys haven't checked that out, make sure you do and give us a 5-star rating and review if you could be so kind, wherever you get your podcasts. And yeah, I'll be doing a watch along for the game tonight. So if you want to head over to YouTube and tune in to watch the game together, then feel free. Jet, mate, you going to be going to the varsity next week when I'm in Perth, mate?
I will be now, yeah.
Oh, sweet, mate. Well, be good to finally meet you there, mate. Looking forward to getting over to one of my favourite places in Australia, that's for sure, in Perth. So looking forward to it. If you guys are in Perth, I will be there. So I'm looking forward to meeting everyone there. And any final bits of advice, Jet, before we let everyone go?
No, just, enjoy the footy and back to 9 games, which is nice.
Oh, yeah, love it. 6 games, I can't handle it. It should be a split bye or whatever, split round, not these 4 byes, but looks like they're here to stay, unfortunately. So more headaches for fantasy coaches in the years to come. But thanks, everyone, for tuning in. And, we'll catch you guys on Sunday night for another round review. So have a good weekend, guys. We'll catch you then. Cheers.